China's President Xi Jinping also held talks with European leaders during the G20 summit. He called on Germany's Chancellor Olaf Scholz to help resolve differences over EU tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. There were also meetings with France's Emmanuel Macron and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Erik Solheim is Norway's former Climate and Environment Minister. Mr. Solheim, welcome. Good to see you. We've just been hearing about Brazil. Let me ask you about the European leaders meeting at the G20 in Brazil. Just how significant is this round of China-European diplomacy we've just seen?
This is very important because there is a deep insecurity in Europe with the election of Donald Trump. No one really knows what the Trump presidency will bring. And then China is seen as a potential force of global stability and a potential partner for Europe in key issues. Both Europe and China want to avoid a trade war. I mean, both believe that global trade is good for prosperity, will make everyone more affluent. I mean, if we go into trade wars and tariffs, we will all be poorer. And both Europe and China also now see an opportunity to play a more important role in global peacemaking, because Trump may take one step back, may not see every square meter of planet Earth as a core American security interest, which was the case in the past. That's very welcome to the world, but that will make Europe and China more significant in Ukraine, in the Middle East, in Sudan, and in other conflicts.
You're a seasoned statesman and politician. Just give us a bit of a snapshot, if you would. How do you gauge China-European relations just at this moment? I mean, how do you see this relationship evolving, given the growing calls for de-risking rather than decoupling?
The rock bottom of relations were during COVID. After that, they have gradually come back into more normal. But I think there's a huge opportunity for taking steps forward. I mean, there is a concern in Europe with China dominating many value chains. I'm going to take electric cars or solar panels as example. China is totally dominating these value chains. But the only answer to that will be more joint ventures, more Chinese investments in Europe, because that will share Chinese superior technology. And China is far ahead of Europe in technology in electric cars. And that will also make Europe and China working more jointly on the value chains.
China and Europe obviously disagree on much, but there is presumably a joint endeavour and joint potential given the global green initiatives that they can both embrace.
No, absolutely. We all expect Trump to take one step out of the Paris Agreement, maybe out of the UN Climate Convention, and of course there is a huge global anger. I mean, the one nation which more than anyone else has caused the climate crisis, the United States of America, is now telling the rest of the world, you fix the mess we have caused. But I think both Europe and China and India and others will step up to the occasion, and they will provide the leadership. But China is now the indispensable leader on everything green. 2/3 of all new green energy came into the grid in China alone, but Europe is also a substantial green leader. So I expect Europe and China to work much more closely for the global green leadership, which the world now so desperately need, when the United States is telling the world, you fix the problem we caused.
Mr. Solheim, great pleasure to have you on the programme. Thank you so much for talking to us. Erik Solheim, Norway's former Climate and Environment Minister.